Hello everybody and welcome back to the last video of 2024. If you don't know, I usually like to do a collection overview, and for the past couple of years when I've been doing these, the weather outside has been cloudy or raining, just I don't know, not really good weather. But this time we have really nice weather. As you can see, it is sunny outside. It is kind of cloudy, but let's use it while we still have it. So let's start off here with the main cabin. This is where I keep most of my US Airlines, but starting off from the first aircraft here, we have the Antonov AN225 Maria. Next up here we have the Slovak Air Force AN26 in 1:200 scale. Behind that here we have the 1:200 Royal Australian Air Force F-22. And then up there we have the aircraft that I keep forgetting the name of, but it is in like 1:150 scale, something like that. And then the final aircraft up here, we have the Aeroflot TU-134B. And then let's get into the main cabin. So starting off here, as usual, here we have the Qatar Airways Airbus A350-1000. Moving on, here we have the Lufthansa 747-8 in the special livery. Moving on, here we have the British Airways Boeing 747-400 in the 2016 Olympic livery. Moving on, here we have the British Airways 747-400 in the I forget what the livery name, but it's one of the 100-year anniversary livery. It's not the Landor one. Then here we have the final British Airways 747-400. This is in the regular livery. Then here we have the TAP Portugal A330 in the Portugal stopover livery. Moving on, here we have the United 757-200 in the Herard here, New York, New Jersey livery. This is from Gemini Jets. Up next, here we have the US Air Force Air Force 2 or C-32 aircraft. Next up, here we have the Delta 757-200 from NG Models. Here we have another 757 from Delta. This one's from Gemini Jets. Here we have the Delta A321 from NG. Here we have a Delta A321neo from NG with a broken engine that literally just broke a couple minutes before recording this. I didn't have the time to fix it, sorry about that. Next, here we have the Delta 737-900ER. Next up, here we have the Delta 737-800. Here we have another United 757-200 in the Herard Hero livery. This one is from NG. Here we have a United 757 in the new livery. Here we have a United 757 in the old livery. United 737-800 from Gemini Jets. United 737-900ER. United A319, United CRJ 550, United Express Embraer 175, and another United Express Embraer 175 in the old livery. Moving on, here we have the Southwest 737-700 in the Florida 1 livery. Up next, here we have the Southwest 737-800 in the Tennessee 1 livery. Moving on, here we have a Spirit Airbus A321. Southwest 737-800 with splits, Southwest 737-800 without splits, Sun Country 737-800, Delta 717-200, Delta Connection CRJ 700, and the Delta Connection CRJ-900, a Delta Embraer 175, and finally a United Express Q200. So quickly, I'm gonna tell you which airline fleet did grow. Qatar didn't grow, Lufthansa did not, British Airways didn't, TAP Portugal did not, United did not, Delta did grow by 1 aircraft, Southwest also I think by 1, Spirit also by 1, Sun Country never grows. But yeah, let's move on to American Airlines. The first aircraft we have is this American 777-300ER. Whoops. American 777-200ER, American 787-9, American 777-200ER in the old livery. Whoops, that is really close. American Airbus A330-300, 200, another American Airbus A330-200. I don't know why they're like so close together here. And a American 767-300ER in the old, in the One World livery. American 757-200 in the new livery, American 757-200 in the old livery, American 757-200 in the old One World livery, American 757-200 with the missing engine, American 757-200 with the luxury liner titles, American 757-200, same thing as the previous one but from Gemini Jets. Here we have a American MD-80 from Gemini Jets and another one from Gemini Jets. American 737-800 with the winglets in the old livery, and a American Eagle Embraer E145, American CRJ-700, American Embraer 145, American Embraer 175, JetBlue Airbus A320 in the high-rise livery, JetBlue Airbus A321 in the Bubbles livery, Alaska 737-800, Alaska 737-900 in the One World livery, Alaska 737-900, and a Alaska 737 MAX 9. So out of this shelf, Alaska did not grow, but American did grow by 4 aircraft that I'm going to show you later, because this year I'm going to show you all the new aircraft that I required over the last year. And then moving on to finally the bottom shelf with like 2 aircraft. Here we have the UPS 757 and a United 727. Alright, let's move on to the next cabin, which is mostly a European cabin, but there are some other aircraft as you can see down here. So let's start off from the top and let's make our way to the bottom. In the back here we have an Emirates Airbus A380 and the United for Wildlife livery. Here we have a KLM 747-400. Here we have a Lufthansa Airbus A350, Lot Polish 787-9, British Airways 787-10 with a still broken nose landing gear that I did not fix. A British Airways 777-200ER, Turkish Airbus A330, Austrian 767-300ER, Austrian 767-300ER, and I flew on one of these. Don't mind these parts. That is from a different plane that we're going to see later. Alright, moving on here. Here we have the Aer Lingus. In the back there, here we have an Aer Lingus 757-200, an Aer Lingus Airbus A321neo, a Vueling Airbus A321, an Iceland Air 757-200 in the 80 Years of Aviation livery, KLM Embraer E175, KLM 737-800, Play Airbus A320neo, DHL 737-400, British Airways 757-200 in the Trees and Wildlife livery, British Airways 757-200 in the regular livery, British Airways 737-800, British Airways Airbus A319, British Airways Airbus A318, British Airways City Hopper Embraer E175, La Compagnie Boeing 757-200, Turkish 737-900, Lot Polish 737 MAX 8, Swiss Airbus A320 in the older livery, Lufthansa Airbus A319, an Air France Airbus A320, an Austrian 737-600, an Austrian F100 in the Austrian Says Goodbye to Fokker livery. And then moving back there, it is a bit crowded in this shelf. And if we'll focus, there we go. Here we have a Wizz Air Airbus A321, a Wizz Air Airbus A320, a Ryanair 737-800, an Air Baltic A220-300 in the Latvia 100 years livery, an S7 Airbus A319, a TUI 737-800, Norwegian 737-800, and then moving on, here we have a Sun class Airbus A321, a Cubana TU-134-100, TU-204-100, a Air Koryo TU-204-300, a Interflug TU-134, a Air Koryo TU-134, and finally an Aeroflot TU-134. Here we have an Air China 737-600, an Aer Lingus ATR-172, a C-130 from the RAF. Here we have an Avianca Colombia 757-200. We have an Air Canada 737 MAX 8. Here we have an Air Canada Express Q400. Here we have an Air Canada Express CRJ-900. Here we have an Air Canada Express CRJ-200. WestJet 737-600. A Malev 737-600. A Convair 550 from Republic. A Ukraine Air Force Antonov AN-26, a private CRJ-200 formerly Air Canada, another private CRJ-200 formerly United Express, a F117 Nighthawk, a Bayraktar TB2, Fly Dubai 737-800, another Air France Airbus A320. Here we have an Aegean Airbus A320. Here we have an SAS CRJ-900. And then moving on to the final shelf down here. Here we have an Ethiopian 757-200 in the old livery. Here we have an American 757-200. I think this is the breast cancer awareness livery. Here we have a Southwest 737-700 from Panda Models. Here we have a Swiss 777-300ER from Aviation 400. Moving on, here we have the Alaska 737-900ER in the More to Love livery. Here we have the Qatar 737 MAX 8. Here we have a JetBlue Airbus A321neo in the mint livery. Here we have the Southwest Missouri 1 livery. Here we have the Southwest Canyon Blue livery with regular winglets. Here we have the Southwest 737 MAX 8 in the Hawaii livery. Here we have the Southwest 737 MAX 8 in the regular livery. Here we have the Breeze Airbus A220-300. Here we have the Southwest 737-800. Here we have the Delta Airbus A319. Moving on here we have the JetBlue Airbus A320. Here we have the new livery JetBlue Airbus A321. Here we have the Southwest 737-700 in the Canyon Blue livery with split scimitars. Here we have the American 737-800. Here we have the Delta 737-700 and an Iceland Air 737 MAX 9. And finally, a Frontier Airbus A320neo. So we do have a lot of airlines in this cabinet. Many of them, they did not grow. Some of them grew by only like one aircraft because this is not a fleet building like cabinet. The other one, had American Delta and stuff like that. And many of these airlines, I only need like one aircraft, like both Polish, Swiss, for a European airport. But yeah, this aircraft is getting this cabinet is getting a lot more full. As you can see, there is barely any room on the bottom shelf. I might need to get another one. But up next, let's move on to the airports. Alrighty, so here we are on Gothenburg, and let's start off back here with the SAS Airbus A321neo, SAS A320neo, SAS 737-600, SAS Airbus A350-900, SAS Airbus A321, SAS CRJ-900, SAS Airbus A319 in the now defunct Star Alliance livery, SAS 737-700, SAS Airbus A319, SAS 737-800, and finally a Qatar 787-8. So my SAS fleet sadly did not grow by any aircraft, but I think my SAS fleet is pretty good at the position it is now. I did want to get an A320, but sadly, I don't know, the pre-order is like still ongoing, so I'm probably gonna get it in 2025. But we do still have some more aircraft. These are just aircraft that I've been like storing away, not really using them because they've been just sitting in their boxes. So the first aircraft here is this British Airways L1011 in the Landor livery. Here we have the Eastern 767-300. And finally here we have the ANA 777-200 in the Tokyo 2020 livery. And then finally we have this little itsy bitsy United 7 CRJ-200. Alrighty, so we have one more airport full of aircraft, and then finally the models that I got this year. Let's go over these aircraft first. First up, here we have this Sunwing 737-800. Up next, here we have this Ukraine 737-800, Breeze Airbus A220-300, Breeze Embraer E195, United 737-800 in the old livery, Air Arabia's Airbus A320. Let me fix it here real quick, sorry. Alright, there we go. Another Ukraine International 737-800, UTR 737-500, Donbass Aero Airbus A319 or a former US Airways A319, Aeroflot 737-800, and a Transaero 737-800. So that is all the aircraft on this airport. And finally, here's all the aircraft I got this year. As you can see, it is around 30 aircraft, something-ish like that. So the first one that I got was this Ukraine International 767-300. Up next, here we have this Atlas Air, the final 747-8 ever built. Moving on, here we have this Emirates 777-300ER, a Qantas 787-9, KLM 777-300ER, Delta A220-100, a blank 737 MAX 7, blank 737 MAX 10, Transaero 737-800, Air France Hope, Embraer E195. Moving on, here we have the Korean 747-8I. Here we have the Air France 777-300ER in the new livery. Here we have the American 767-200, American MD-80, the final MD-80 built, Spirit Airbus A319. Here we have an Air France Airbus A340-300, another American MD-80. This is with the older titles, the one that have the Super 80 titles. Moving on, here we have the Riyadh Air 787-9. This is from Aviation 400. Here we have the Southwest 737 MAX 7. Here we have the Videro Q400, an American 737 MAX 8. And the final aircraft that I got this year was this Air France 777-300ER in the older new livery. As you can see, the titles are a bit smaller. But yeah, that is all of the aircraft that I got this year, and that is basically my whole collection. I hope you did enjoy this video, and I guess if you're only watching the collection videos, I guess I will still see you next year, because the next video I'm going to upload is going to be next year. But yeah, with that, fly safe.